Rahm Emanuel, who was the former chief of staff to President Obama, and the mayor of Chicago, who famously said during the 2008 recession, "You never want to let a serious crisis go to waste. A crisis provides us the opportunity to do things that we never could do before." And I think that's what this is teaching us in Rotary right now. I mean, before this crisis ever happened, we started to see a little bit of a shift of how Rotary clubs do the two basic things. And I think the one thing that we do is we create community. I mean, just listening to your clubs the past couple of meetings, the community that you have. Now, many clubs hold the old model of creating friendship while breaking bread. The meal becomes the essential piece of creating that community. But many clubs started looking at different options. And through this community, we do the second part, which is we come together to make our communities better. And that community could be the local community in which we live, or the many that we view that we are part of throughout the world. Now, I think this shift, by my observation, has been predicated by two things. Failure. And in some parts of the world, Rotary is struggling. The US, in particular, and Canada. The United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, our membership has been declining. And I know that in the Caribbean, you've been pretty strong. You've been one of our stronger elements, but I know that many clubs have struggled with membership. So that shift to not having the success that we were always thought we were going to have has caused us to think more deeply. But then there's the second part, and that's the textural change in our environment. It used to be that people would join Rotary as a means of representing their company to give back to their community. And so they'd join us. They would become members. But in today's world, you don't need to pay dues to volunteer. In fact, the other piece of coming together in community, we used to think that a meal was essential. Now we realize that fellowship can be expressed over the internet, and we are now seeing how that plays out. In fact, in this process, meals are not even essential, and in some ways, perhaps a little in the way of the way we're now trying to come together. I mean, personally, for many years, were it not for Rotary, I'd eat every single one of my lunches in front of my computer. And many people who are younger, those people that are joining us, that we want to lead us, they're willing to spend money, but not on our meetings. If they're going to give up money, they want to make a difference with those dollars. So in watching these two dynamics play out, I've seen some really interesting things. First of all, is that in an exploration of trying to understand how to make Rotary more attractive, we've reverted back to our origins. We've reverted back to what I believe was the reason that Rotary was created. First, to make our members better people with strong businesses, supported families, and better communities. And many people, many clubs particularly, are realizing the most important thing that they can do is to focus on the needs of their members. First, foremost, and always. Because if they do, their members will take care of their community. I heard this in a quote that really stuck to me, that really taught me the importance of taking care of our members as the most essential element of Rotary. And it came from a quotation by a gentleman by the name of Richard Branson, and I assume and hope most of you know who that is. And his quote is, "Clients do not come first. Employees come first. Because if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of the clients. If we take care of our Rotarians and make Rotary a vital part of their life, they're going to go out and affect our communities." Further to that, if you take a look, and for years, I avoided looking at the objects of Rotary as just another set of protocols that every organization has. But if you take a look at the objects of Rotary, you're going to see that each and every one of them speaks to how Rotary affects the individual first, and how that effect will help to serve others. Our goal of our organization is to make our members better people. And I think clubs are more increasingly focused on the needs of their members or the potential members. You know, we used to ask people to figure out Rotary, and now it's reversed. Instead of trying to have people figure us out, we're trying to figure out those people that are in our clubs and those people we wish would be a part of our clubs. And so we've explored options. We've gone to e-clubs, most recently passport clubs. And in fact, some of these clubs, from the iconic clubs to the innovative clubs, are all now looking at different ways to be more relevant to the needs of our members, to engage them more, to make Rotary fit into their lives rather than have their lives fit into Rotary. You know, and having been on the board recently and being a part of, you know, all that I've been thinking, I've been on the membership committee for quite some time, as you heard. I've been on the communications committee, and in every level in the organization that I've seen, board of directors, the trustees, the secretariat, and even the council on legislation with the landmark decision in 2016 to provide greater control and flexibility to the clubs. We're all ready for change. We're all ready for evolution. We're all ready to help our organization take what's valuable, what's essential, what are our core values and our essence, but allow us to adapt to today. And in fact, one of the things that Rotary is going to be testing and moving forward on is a non-club based model. In other words, you join Rotary, you don't join a club. And we believe in this test, we're going to find out who will join us. And it's not the people that we wish wouldn't join Rotary, it's the people that are too busy to be able to make a weekly meeting, but want to be a part of an organization that makes lasting change across the world. You see, from my observation, one of the greatest challenges we have for change is at the club level. And it's for very human reasons. Some clubs just don't want to change. Well, I think every club wants to change, but only the change they want, right? Which in many instances is not that much. Some clubs don't know how to change. They would like to evolve, but they don't know where to start. And then some clubs are stuck in the middle, where they have to serve two masters: the longtime members who are comfortable with the experience and don't want to make anything different, and the people who do want change, who will be the leadership and the membership of the club in the future. But even the most iconic clubs are changing. I attended a meeting of LA5, that's the 5th club in Rotary in Los Angeles. And I sat with them in a membership meeting, and they were saying, we just can't we're in the middle of the commercial district of LA, but we can't get people to come into our meetings. And during the course of the conversation, we all came to realize, why are you forcing them to come into your meetings? Why aren't you going out into their community and engaging them on their terms? And it was sort of a pivot point for them to be able to look at it that way. And in fact, what's interesting is through global grants and an evolution, the lines between clubs are starting to blur. And I'm seeing it in a number of clubs where they're coming together on the global grants, because you have to in order to have those funds. But they're doing it on community projects where 2 or 3 clubs from one community will come together, or they're joining in social events or fundraisers. It's a blended experience. And one of the things I love about where we are right now with Zoom and protocols like this is that we're starting to engage and blur the lines between Rotaract and us. When they join us here and I see all these boxes on the screen, I don't know who is what. I just know you're all Rotarians, you're all well-intended people trying to make a difference. My club has been going through this experience. We were a breakfast club, and we realized we weren't meeting the needs of our members. So we decided to evolve. We meet in the afternoon now, where we express Rotary very differently. We had a debate at one point about the essential elements. And one of our past presidents, a woman I admire tremendously, said, as we talked about eliminating the bell, she said, no, you have to have the bell. I'm sure it's in the manual of procedure. And we had to explain nothing of the protocol of the meetings, the manual of procedure. Everything's on the table. And so now we've become more attractive to non-Rotarians. And these things we come to realize don't include meals. Our basic purpose each week is to create friendships. And it's working out fairly well for us, and I've seen it in other clubs. And that's why I think that this challenge with COVID-19 has proved that you can hold a meeting and create new relationships that transcends borders of clubs, where people come in and sit with us. And I expect through this process, we may start hearing about projects that other clubs are doing that we realize we can help. We start to understand each other better. In fact, I've also heard that many clubs are getting better attendance on Zoom than they were before because people can just drop in. They don't have to dedicate as much time. Yes, they may do some other things during the course of the meeting, but they still are there. They're hearing what's going on and they're seeing their friends. Rotary is trying to do this too with the Rotary Convention. And as you now know, we're not meeting face to face because we can't. But what we are doing is we are planning an unconventional convention, a virtual convention that will be held the last week of June. I'll give you more information. We just had a committee meeting yesterday on the convention. And what you will see is not just the in-person meeting jammed into a virtual expression. It will be a reinvention of bringing people together using our talents in the internet. But what is exciting to me is you can capture this moment and take some of the pieces from the convention and put it into your meetings, or share it in your community so that people can see who we are, so we can reach more people. And we can provide content that can be shared with the club and the community in a way that we never could have done with an in-person convention. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that Zoom is our future. When the veil is lifted, we will come back together. But we need to remember the lessons we're seeing here. And in fact, some of us are talking about when we come back, maybe one meeting a month needs to have this texture. In fact, our club president, who is actually on this call, we're talking about doing a social night with games that we never would have tried before in our club. And it gives us a chance to look at us differently. It gives us a chance to see how we can change to make our Rotary experience stronger for clubs, for its members, and for those we want to attract. It also will help us to define why people want to join our clubs. You know, having had a chance to engage many of you on this call, the best part of Rotary for me is outside the bells of our meeting. It's what we do outside. Yes, creating friendship is essential, but the experiences I've had outside of my meeting have literally changed my life and the life of people I care about. You see, because I deeply believe that Rotary offers something you cannot buy in any store nor get in any other organizations. We connect the leaders in our community and we create these lasting friendships. And because of who we are, because we are people who are influencers, we are people of action, we empower our members to be better than they could be on their own. See, I view Rotary through a lens, and I can't see it any other way. I do not believe Rotary is a service organization. We're a membership organization. We create friendships and relationships that allow us to do things we never could do on our own. And in doing that, we literally change the world. There's strength in our relationships, the social importance that we assign by being connected with people. And while we're isolated here, in some ways, we're more connected to our members and communities than before. We're connected to people of influence. And now, during this time, we need them more than ever. It's been a challenge. As you heard, I'm in the tour business, and we're not touring. I also have commercial real estate, and I have every single one of my tenants that I'm in conversation with. And in reflection, I was talking to my daughter, Blair, and it struck me that it was the relationships that I had created over time that were helping me to get through this process and to keep my business going. And while our businesses are challenged, we should recognize that we need Rotary more now than ever before. I can't give a better example of that than what I've experienced. See, when our communities are challenged, we need to be connected to people of action who will help us to find a way to get through the tough jobs and to help us bring our communities back to life. It's because of who Rotarians are that allows us to achieve results we can't get any other way. And if ever there was a time for Rotary that was essential, it's right now. I heard it from Haresh. I've seen it through your club, and I'm experiencing it myself. I really appreciate being able to share my thoughts with you.